Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Procure Smarter podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Cook, and today we have Mr. Vimal Patel with us. He is going to talk to us about the pandemic, being a hotelier in the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic. He is the owner of QHotels, a Louisiana-based management company focused on the development and management of select service hotels. Hello, Mr. Patel. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's good to be here. Thanks for
Thank you.
inviting me to the podcast.
Yes, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Now, I mean to keep calling you Vimal, but I think Southern hospitality makes me want to call you Mr. Patel. So if that happens, I apologize. Okay, let's start. Now, what the reason I reached out to you was back in 2020, you gave an interview, and I want to quote you as something very powerful that you said and talk about it. You said that you live in a state of constant anxiety. The fear, you said, is that you and your wife, Mina, who run the group's finances, as well as cousins and business partners, Jay and Kevin and Verdant, could see their American dream evaporating. Do you still feel this way?
So as the time have passed, right? So this was just the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. When things just came to a grinding halt. Situation looked very bleak at the time, and dealing with the lenders. I think the main concern was the lenders, then the team members, right, and the obligations and the personal guarantees that we had. Especially, I think this was one of the topics that at the time we were discussing, was that we have a couple of hotels that we have the CMBS financing, which the lenders technically is more like a service masters, right? That servicing company, that they did not want to accommodate any request, to extend some terms payments or give some leeways into making payments, right? And so this was a conversation that happened in 2020 in regards to that. And yes, it looked absolutely bleak at the time. We could not, fulfill our monthly mortgage obligations to one of the two hotels at the time for the CMBS, and we had to just kind of, be left at the mercy of the servicing company in regards to what would happen, when would it happen, right? And so that was the situation. So luckily, there were some progress made since with the lender at the time, from 2020 to 2021. Mm-hmm. And we were able to negotiate an exit, which just barely happened last month. Wow. Right? Yeah. And it took a long time, and a lot of stress and a lot of sleepless nights. And if you really look at it, we all are small business owners, right? So it's our own hard-earned money equity that we have put it into these hotels, which we could have lost all of it, if we would not have been in negotiating an exit with this lender. So yes, things kind of got better. We were able to find another lender to be able to finance that property, and we were able to get out. So things were progressing okay in middle of 2021. The summer kind of looked okay. We were very optimistic that things should start getting better, and then in August 29th, we got hit by Hurricane Ida.
Wow. Yeah. Right. So, that's a huge impact. Yeah. So I didn't even think about that. You are in Louisiana.
Right. Yeah. So 6 of our hotels got badly damaged. 5 of them are still closed. We were all able to open one. And again, dealing with the insurance company, has been a nightmare and a challenge.
Right.
It's been a nightmare because we had to, incur more debt to continue the repairs. That way we don't lose more time and more, revenue losses. We still have obligations to pay the lenders, whether the hotel is open or not. They were able to give some extension, but again, you can't expect an extended period of extension when they already have given us the similar extensions during the pandemic, right? So it's for us, the hospitality industry, has been hit hard because 2020 happened. We had another hurricane in Lake Charles in 2020, and then in 2021 things were starting getting better, and then we got hit by these other hurricanes, and we are still closed at 5 of our hotels. So it's progressing very slow, and trying to get the rebuild done, especially with the supply shortages, the labor issues, and the cost keep going up, and the transportation, right? The lead time to get some of these products in. We started ordering back in September, October, knowing that we were going to be in the situation, and we still have not received some of these products, even though the hotels are not open. But we have been proactive on placing the order well months in advance, and it's still a unique situation where we don't know when we would get these items.
Right. And you have an added stressor because this is a family business, right? You have several members of your family that you are responsible for their livelihoods.
Yeah, exactly right. So there are 4 partners, and my wife works with me. She handles all of the finances, right? And so the stress level in keeping things together and paying bills and paying the vendors and team members, and keeping afloat and negotiating some of the line of credits with the banks, and trying to get finances and liquidity in place to kind of, basically, it's just going to be like, almost living like paycheck to paycheck, month to month, week to week, right? So if we can we make it able to pass? Can we able to pay this? Can we able to get by with this, and so forth, right? So so the things kind of got better, in the middle of summer of 2021, as I said. So we got some sort of reliefs now that came in, but then the hurricane happened. So we're waiting for this insurance funds to come through. There's some that has came through since we opened the other hotel. Since then, that was January. And so between end of January, we started receiving some funds, and that kind of freed up a little bit. Now we're hoping that the bulk of the funds can come through, so that we can finish the rest of the rebuild, and we can open quickly and pay a lot of these contractors.
So you mentioned it a minute ago, and let's talk about it. As my full-time job, I am a purchasing agent. And so I understand how difficult it is to get supplies right now. And actually on yesterday's podcast that went out live today, we talked to a gentleman in the trucking industry, and he was telling us about the challenges of just getting truckers back on the road. So yeah, I'm very familiar, but the pandemic changed everything in hospitality. And while I do see signs of improvement, one of the things that I do not see improving is our supply chain. So you have talked about getting your orders. You put them in October. You still haven't seen them. Did this take you by surprise? Did you realize what the struggle was going to look like?
So, by the way, I did discuss this the same topic on Fox Business Live, as well as, I was in this news article, which kind of picked up by a lot of the syndicates, including AP and Washington Post and so forth. So yes, I mean, as I said, that back in September, October, soon after the hurricane, I pretty much advised all of my team members, managers at the hotels to start placing the orders. We even went back, and even though we didn't have any specific items, we were still cleaning up mode at the time. We went ahead and placed some orders for one of the hotel's furniture, which we knew at the time that we were going to need them. So we just kind of randomly estimated what we're going to need. We just kind of did plus or minus 10%. We didn't have the exact count, we didn't have the exact items, but it was imperative that we place the order, and we placed the order in October, end of October, right? And we still have no idea when we will receive it. It was placed the order, paid for it, but again, the delay in shipment and all of that it's very unknown. So yes, we were anticipating a lot of the delays, but almost like 5 months later, we're still experiencing this kind of delays.
Right.
is unprecedented, and it's we don't know when we will receive it, and what happens if there's a partial order. What happens, we had to kind of do a replacement product, and can we get mix and match items, and can we make it by, and then dealing with the brand on such conditions, what will happen then? So it's still a lot of unknown factors there, but I'm not sure whether this is going to be resolving anytime soon. This supply chain issues and the lead time and the cost of materials, products going up higher.
Right.
I mean, that's putting a burden on the NOI as well, because a lot of these hotels coming out of pandemic in my markets, they are very reluctant to raise rates. And if you're not going to raise rates and take care of these expenses, it's going to be very, very critical, because the labor has gone up drastically. We cannot even find a housekeeping staff at $15, $18 an hour, which is what we're paying at some of my hotels. And even then it's very difficult. So department cost has gone up almost 70% between the labor costs and the supplies. And if we don't raise rates, and if we can pass on this cost and make some adjustments on the free amenities and labor, service, cut back on some of the services, then we cannot survive the way we are going.
Right. So let me come back to that, because labor is one of the things I wanted to ask you about. But I want to come back to your supply chain. What is your factory telling you? Are they giving you any indication? Is the material, do they have raw materials? Have they shipped? Is it a container issue? Like, what are you hearing?
So multiple situations, right? So for example, I give you one prime example, right? We were looking for drywall at the time, right? So we were looking at drywalls, Home Depot, Lowe's, or any other local, supply could not accommodate. Either they were out of it, or they're going to tell me the lead time. We ended up outsourcing it, found a vendor through Mexico. Right. So we paid up front, and again, we got a delivery, couple of trucks in time. All of a sudden, the delivery started kind of wavered all over. So they were not coming in time. We were just getting late. Sometimes they get an email saying they don't have truckers to fill. Sometimes they said they ran short on the product, so they don't have full truck to fill. So we had to wait till the full truck is filled. So those kind of situations that arises. On the other side of it, like the shipments, from some of the products that's coming through China or internationally, the materials are sitting at the dock. We cannot load it to the container, or if the containers are in transit, then they're stuck at the port. So all different scenarios. It's like you kind of dodge one problem, then there are three more problems waiting. At the end. So it's not just you can isolate to one problem or two problems. It's a magnitude of I guess the perfect storm that had kind of combined where these challenges are happening.
Right. You're absolutely right. It is a perfect storm. So what are your options? Do you just continue to wait? Do you try to find alternate sourcing? You kind of are at the mercy of the manufacturer, but have you thought about plan B or plan C? Like, do you have any?
Yes, so plan B and plan B is basically just go outside the brand standards, and make it work, because at the end of the day, the brands are forcing us to use a certain branded product with a certain manufacturer or the suppliers or the vendors, right? And so we are forced upon to use those vendors, and this is where a lot of these bottlenecks are happening. But at this time, there is no way we can continue to use those vendors and be able to operate. So we will have to go outside of the norm. And if I will have to replace some of the products, through locals or some other channels, or even through Mexico or through Canada or wherever that we can find this product, and then that's what it's going to have to be. At the end of the day, we are still obligated to pay the mortgage, the team members, the insurance, and all of that. So the brands are not going to help with that, right? Sometimes we had to just put the precedence on what's more priority, and we'll just have to deal with the brand on the separate matter. If we don't comply, then so be it. But we are going to have to be able to operate and serve the customers, and less stress on team members, because those challenges with the service issues or lack of products will come back to the team members, right? So we don't want that to happen as well. And so plan B would be just to kind of get what you can get and just make it work.
Right. And what is the brand saying to you? You're answering every question that I have written down, so it's so good. But what help is the brand offering? Anything?
Again, so there have been, but there have been, challenges where you have to actually go to the brand, ask for the waivers, plead your case, which it shouldn't be. It's a national issues, it's a worldwide issues. The challenges are happening. There's no longer we can acquire the products and putting restrictions and forcing us to use the brand mandated vendors and products. It's not an ideal situation to be in. So I think a lot of the owners are just not even bothered, to go back to the brands and asking. We're just kind of making it work. Get the supplies what we need. Make it work, and we'll deal with the brands when the time comes.
Right, because
Yeah.
ultimately you have to open the hotel. You have to have an income.
That's absolutely correct, right? We cannot go on. So and at the same time, there's one classic example I gave in that news article, was that coffee cups, right? So there was a coffee cups shortages, and there was no lids as well. So we had to just kind of get this, instead of 12-ounce cups, we had to just kind of get 8-ounce cups. And so in one of the hotels, the guest got extremely upset and got upset at the front desk agent, and so that was a classic scenario where it's difficult to make the guests understand which where, the problem lies. It's not at the hotel. No one is trying to cut corners. We are not nickel and diming, but is the best situation is either you have no coffee, or you have a coffee cup with no lid, right?
Right.
That's the scenario that we are in, and the stress level with the team members is also high when this kind of situation arises, and the team members who are here, who are willing to work and be present at the hotel, we definitely need to take care of them.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about that. One of the challenges right now that everybody's having is labor, and you have team members who are showing up, who are there to work, and they're getting all this attitude because there's no coffee lid. What are you able to do when you're in, or what are you doing to attract people into the hotel, more employees?
So obviously right now the challenge is just kind of going up on your wages, because that has been a critical fundamental factor. But I mean, good thing, bad thing, which you look at it, we got 5 hotels that are closed, right? So we are kind of rotating some of the staffs and the managers among the other hotels, and providing them in the gap at the hotel that the challenges are. So the 3 hotels that we are completely open, we are able to get some contract company labor in, and just be able to get by, with cutback services on the housekeeping, where we are not providing daily services, or to the stayovers, right? So we're just kind of making it work in that, but it's still a challenge, and it's not, we are not, the hospitality industry is not just alone in that. We've seen it where there's a restaurant industries, you go to dental offices, or whether you go to the retail outlets. This is like a widespread challenge that they're facing, and one classic example, one of the vendors that I was talking to, he gave me that he was offering $30 an hour for simply to clean the rental cars, and even for that $30 an hour for cleaning your rental cars, he could not find anybody. The 2 people that came in, and one left a half day, one other one didn't show up the next day. So it seems like that even money is not an issue, whether if you pay $15 or $30. What's the root of the problem here is, but it is there, and looks like it's only going to get worse.
Right. So, Mr. Patel, there's a lot of hoteliers like you out there that are struggling to survive the pandemic. You're doing all you can do. What kind of advice would you give them? If I said give one piece of advice to others, what would it be?
So right now, keep fighting, right? It easily, in the situation that we are in, we get easily demoralized. At the end of the day, again, we all take care of, where the mental well-being of the team members, or the guest, and all of that. But it affects us as well, the owners, right? And there's nobody else for us to kind of fall back on, right? So it is very critical that we keep our mind positive, and we don't let the stress it, because if we sort of kind of break or bend, and then it is going to be very difficult to kind of get back up. So it is very critical for the future of the business, for the future of our physical and mental health, and our partners and our children and everybody else. It is, first and foremost, be positive, stay positive, and keep fighting, because that's what's going to end. Because as you read that quote from 2020, however desperate and I guess doomed and gloom it meant, today it doesn't feel like it. So it'll pass. The time will pass, but we cannot give up. We have to stay positive and keep fighting.
Thank you very much for doing this podcast with me, for sharing your expertise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, stay tuned. Hold on. Okay, guys, that was Mr. Vimal Patel. Really, really genuinely nice guy. And he is experiencing something that thousands and thousands of hoteliers across the United States are experiencing with the supply chain. And as a purchasing agent, I understand that struggle all too well. If you enjoyed this episode, please support the podcast. Stay tuned. We have a lot of great guests coming. All right, everybody, I will see you next week. Bye-bye.